to Transit Talk, a show brought to you by the DCTA, Denton County Transportation Authority, that highlights information about our public transportation. Every week after our show Discover Denton, we will bring you Transit Talk. So after you hear about things you can do in Denton, you can hear about how you can get there. Well, have you ever wondered how DCTA is able to do what DCTA does? I certainly have. And so today we have Christina Brevard and Dee Liggett back into the studio just to let you know how DCTA makes it all happen.
You know, I wish DCTA had a limitless budget so that we could provide bus and rail service 24/7, but unfortunately, that is not the case. At our recent community open house events, one of the items we discussed with community members was our annual program of projects. Dee, what is that exactly?
You know, it sounds like a pretty bureaucratic name, annual program of projects, but it really is just that. It is our annual budget of how we're going to spend our federally funded projects. So we outline on a year-to-year basis how we're going to spend our federal funds, and we submit it to the region, and then they submit it to the Federal Transit Administration on our behalf.
Okay, so those are federal funding sources, but we have many other funding sources at DCTA. So what are those funding sources?
Well, DCTA's revenues or funding sources are really broken up into two categories. You have your operating revenues and your non-operating revenues. Your operating revenues are passenger fares. So when you buy a ticket at the ticket vending machine or you pay a fare when you board the bus, that's our passenger fares. And then we have contract service revenues. Our relationship with the University of North Texas is treated as a contract revenue. Same with North Central Texas College. Then if you look at our non-operating revenue sources, that's sales tax revenue. We get a 1/2-cent sales tax for every expenditure in the cities of Highland Village, Louisville, and Denton. Then we also have our federal grants that we talked about with our annual program of projects. And then the A-Train was funded through non-federal grant sources. So there are a few other non-federal grants that we receive, such as a grant through TxDOT and then some remnants of the regional toll revenue funds.
Okay, and that's from the 121 tollway?
That is from the 121 tollway, yes.
Okay. Well, now that we have a better understanding of where the money comes from to operate DCTA services, let's talk about spending that money. And how does the agency prioritize its projects and budget?
Well, it's always a difficult decision every year when we start talking about how we're going to spend our money. Because like Christina said, if we had a limitless budget, we'd love to put services out there 24/7 because we know the needs are out there beyond what we're able to fund. But DCTA has a set of 8 goals and objectives that, are focused on service efficiency and reliability, maintaining visibility within the region, expanding services in areas that are likely to succeed, coordinating with our regional transit providers, making sure that we're working with our cities on sustainable development and transit supportive land use, and then also maintaining responsible finances. So for those 8 goals and objectives in mind, we set out to figure out what the needs are of the organization moving into the fiscal year and how best to prioritize those. And a lot of that is based on input that we receive from the public. Community open houses is one way that we solicit feedback. We also look at, annual surveys, ridership patterns. And then we have our multi-year service plan that outlines needs. Look at all of that based on the amount of funds that we have and try to prioritize it. Now, we know that we have a fixed set of routes that we operate on the bus side, and we have the A-Train that we need to support. Plus, we need to maintain a certain level of debt coverage for any debt that we've issued. And then we set aside some reserve funds to help stabilize fuel price fluctuation, and then also to make sure that we're taking care of future capital maintenance expenses.
Okay, well, that is really good information that I think will help provide community members with a better understanding of how DCTA operates. So for those of you that are interested in learning more about DCTA's financial information or to view the service plan, all of that is available on the DCTA website at dcta.net. Thanks, Dee.
Thank you, Christina.
And there you have it, this week's episode of Transit Talk, brought to you by the DCTA. A big thanks to Christina Brevard and Dee Liggett. An extra thanks to Gravity Feed for providing the intro and outro music. I'm Jake Laughlin, your host. Join us next week on Transit Talk, where we will be talking more transit. And in the meantime, go explore Denton.